Okay, well, it turns out I was completely wrong.
Okay, I'm in the other tractor now, my less favorite tractor.
14-year-old terms, that sucks. I don't know. All right, it's Friday, so we got 2 more loads of mulch, and it is piling up way faster than we can move it. I'm surrounded by the pine bark mulch now. But it was Friday, so they come whether I'm ready for them or not. Yeah, Walter, he's heading on out. Appreciate him every time, because he's the one that gets the job done. All right, I know I've talked about the excavator not working in the past, and I finally got the parts for it. So we're gonna go ahead, and what we need to do today is, this was the fuel water separator and it was broken. So I got a new one, finally. And we're gonna take that off, put the new one on. That actually should be pretty simple. And then we have to fix the fuel lift pump, mechanical fuel lift pump that's on the side of the engine. I cannot find this part. I've called so many different places and sent them pictures, and no one can figure out what part that is. So we're gonna do a redneck repair on it for now, and that'll just have to be good enough until we can track down the part. It'll run. What happens is, there's a pinhole leak in it, so it sprays out a little bit of diesel fuel while the excavator is running, and that's not great because, well, 1, it makes a big mess in there. 2, it wastes diesel fuel, which costs a fortune, and 3, it's just not good. So anyway, we're gonna do a redneck repair on that because we can't find the part, and then when we can eventually find the part, we'll change it out. But that'll at least get the excavator going, because next weekend you're gonna want to tune into that for sure. Next weekend, my brother and some friends are gonna be here, and we're gonna tear the barn down and tear out a bunch of trees. And what could possibly go wrong with that? So here we go. We're gonna change out this fuel water separator, and then we should be able to get this thing running finally. So I already loosened up the nuts on this, and we're gonna pull this out and then disconnect the fuel lines from it. I thankfully can tell which fuel line is in and which fuel line is out, meaning directionally speaking, because it does matter. Okay, first issue that I've run into, we definitely got some siphon action going on here, and the fuel is starting to run out of the fuel tank. So that's not good. I'll have to maybe use some zip ties to keep them up here while I put this back together, because we definitely don't need fuel spilling all over while I'm doing this. That would be really bad. So let me see what I can do about that. All right, here's what the new part looks like. A lot nicer than the last one. Has a replaceable filter in it, and you can just open this up on the bottom to drain out the water, if there is water, and see through, so it's good. The old one was, I don't know what the old one was, a piece of crap, and it's broken anyway, so it needs to go. I'm actually going to get this one mounted up in there first and then deal with those fuel lines, and maybe I can have less spillage. All right, it's back in. You can see it there, all plumbed up, and I probably did what you guys were screaming at me to do from on the other side of the camera, which is not fart around with trying to get the old hose off the barb and just check to see if there was enough slack hose and cut it off the barb, which is what I did. I ended up cutting it off the barb. I lost like an inch. Here you go. That's what it looks like, the old one. And there was plenty of slack fuel line there in order to get it hooked up with no kinks or anything like that. So we're good to go. I just need to get it filled up, get this thing primed, and then we'll get going from there. And yes, I did have an outfit change because I'm always ruining my day-to-day clothes out here because I just get to things without changing. So I went and put on some farm clothes because I was already getting grease all over my other shirt, and it's almost impossible to get that stuff out. So let me see if I can get some fuel running into this thing, and we'll see how it goes. All right, we're trying to get everything going this morning. We have tire on the big tractor getting filled up because tires, and we need to do a little bit of maintenance on the new small excavator before we put our daughter in it so she can go start pulling trees with it. Obviously it needs to be filled up with fuel. It's empty right now, but also this right hand side track is loose and needs to be tightened up. So I'm gonna get that taken care of, and then we can get her out there working and she can learn how to use an excavator. All right, I'm pretty sure you can see here that the track is very loose, but the adjuster wheel is not really adjusted out that far. So we're gonna use the grease gun. In here there's a fitting to pump up the adjuster, and we're gonna push that all the way out. Okay, well, it turns out I was completely wrong. One of the reasons I bought a Takeuchi, well, I really like Takeuchis, I think they make a great product, but one of the reasons I bought a Takeuchi because my skid steer is a Takeuchi, and I figured they'd be really similar. In a lot of ways they are, but tightening the tracks, they're not. So it has automatic track tighteners. I opened up the panel there and the grease fitting wasn't there. I got very confused. And thankfully the internet exists. So I was able to find out that all I had to do was put it in high gear and drive it back and forth, and it would tighten up itself. And you can see that it's not completely tight yet, but it is a lot tighter than it was. So we're gonna do that a little bit more and get that tightened up, and then it'll be ready to go. Okay, I think that worked out pretty well. There's still a little bit of a sag, but it's way tighter than it was. This tensioner might have a leak or something in it. So we'll have to keep our eye on that track. We definitely don't want to throw a track. And if it's just have to tighten it up every so often, that's not a big deal. Clearly, you just have to put it in high gear and drive back and forth. So we are just about ready to put this thing into action. I'm actually going to test it out myself first. See if I can rip a tree out of the ground. That's kind of the whole point, really the long-term point of getting this piece of equipment, is so that, you know, the skid steer was working, but it was taking forever. It really takes a long time to pull a tree out. This has a thumb, and we should be able to just grab onto small trees anyway and just rip them right out of the ground. Most of our problem around here is small trees, not big trees.
It is a beautiful day on the farm. I know yesterday Joe was trying to do some maintenance on the big excavator and was getting a little frustrated. But I came out to the back field and I see that he is playing with the new mini or MIDI excavator. So let's see what he's doing. I think he's experimenting with pulling up trees. Ooh. He seems to have the hang of it already. We just got it. We're thinking this will be the new tree extraction device. Very nice that it has a thumb. Oh my goodness. Wow. It seems pretty powerful.
All right, if you're wondering, I have no idea what I'm doing. That'll probably be abundantly clear here very quickly.
Well, that seems to be going well. Seems like the controls and watching him looks like it's kind of similar to the skid steer where there's like joysticks, if that's the right term. But I'm sure he's having a good time in there.
All right, if anyone thought that driving an excavator was easy, you're sorely mistaken. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing, so I probably make it look even worse than it actually is. But that's incredibly challenging, and I was just trying to pull out little trees. Got them out, but wow, what a lot of work. Anyway, I'm gonna have my daughter jump up in there, and she's gonna give it a whirl. We'll figure out which way is better to pull these trees out. Maybe some of them it's gonna be easier with the excavator, maybe some of them it's gonna be easier with a skid steer, but we'll find out, and we'll see how it goes.
Whew, winded just from getting in the tractor. So it seems like the mini excavator is going pretty well for Joe, which I'm glad. It does bring me joy when these things bring him joy. So it seems like that was a good purchase. Can help us knock down, especially some of the bigger trees that will need to come down. But the tilling show must go on. So this morning and probably the rest of today, I'll be doing some tilling to get the mulch that is in rows incorporated in the soil. It's just going to be kind of a constant project until it's done, really. So what we did the first time was we had the mulch laid out, and then Joe took the tractor bucket and kind of smoothed the mulch out. So that definitely seemed like it worked really well, but that's time consuming, and if there's any way we can save time, that would be ideal. So what I'm going to try today is to just till in the mulch, even though it's in piles. I feel like it should work. because it's just, you know, incorporating the soil and the mulch. So I feel like it should work, but we'll kind of do an experiment, see if, you know, going over it one time is enough. Maybe I need to go over it twice to really flatten it out and make sure it's all incorporated. So today will be a little bit of an experiment, and hopefully it will go well so we don't have to go over each row again with the tractor bucket to smooth them out. So let's see how it goes. All right, so we're coming up on the rows. And so like I said, you can see that they're still in piles basically. Whereas, you know, this first one that we did, we had really smoothed out ahead of time, and it turned out really well. But the hope is, again, we can save some time and just till them while they're like this in piles. I feel like it will be fine. I'm really hoping it'll work well so we can really save some time. So we'll start with this first row. Looks like it's completely finished. Joe really made a lot of progress the last time he was working on this, which is great. So, all right, so let's see how this goes. All right, started up the tiller. So let's go ahead and lower it. Okay. All right, it is on the ground. Let's get going. So far, we've only gone, you know, probably a couple feet, but I think it's working out fine, which is a relief. Maybe that means we can save a lot more time this way. All right, I'll show you the final product. Okay, so I pulled out so you can see how it looks. I think it went really well. I don't really think we need to go and flatten each row before tilling it into the ground. I see it looks like some grass has come up, but I think I'll do another pass and see if it looks like it's even more mixed up. So I'm thinking that first pass maybe helped flatten it and maybe mix up the mulch maybe within itself, because it looks a lot darker now. You can see like this row looks kind of dry and lighter brown. This one looks a lot more fresh and darker brown. So I'm thinking maybe it, like mixed up the mulch within itself first. So I'm gonna go over it one more time and see if it looks like it's even more incorporated with the actual soil as well. So let's see how that goes. Okay, I passed over it one more time and I feel like it looks even flatter and more incorporated. So I think 2 passes is probably best. So I'll move on to the rest of these. I am so excited that seemed to really work out. Any time savers are appreciated. So just keep continuing with this. So something Joe told me that I didn't realize was the silver notch at the end of the tractor apparently is partially there to or maybe all there to make it easier to straighten out and follow an object, which makes a lot of sense. And I did not know that because I did not grow up with tractors, but that makes so much sense and is very helpful. Also, I got really excited because I don't know if you can tell from right here, but there are honeysuckles right in front. And I loved honeysuckles as a kid. It's so nostalgic for me. I might have to get out of the tractor and try some. Maybe. Kind of like the red buds. You can eat honeysuckles. I remember as a kid eating them. Just kind of a random nostalgic thing.
All right, here we go. This is our first foray into using an excavator. It's just trying to get a handle on the controls. It is a lot different than using a skid steer. Skid steer is pretty easy. If you want to get into using equipment, skid steer is probably the easiest way to get into using equipment. And I feel like an excavator is probably the most complicated way to get into using equipment. Okay, I'm gonna leave her be over there to try to figure out how to take down a tree. So it's really quite challenging. She'll probably be there for a while just to get the one tree down, but that's okay. That's how you learn. And I'm gonna be doing maintenance most of the day. Hopefully, maybe pie in the sky thought, but hopefully I'll be able to get the big excavator running, because that is really key. We got some big trees to take down, and I mean, we could get there eventually with the skid steer and the smaller excavator, but these big trees are gonna be way easier to take down with the big excavator. Liz is gonna be tilling the beds, and then when she's done tilling beds, she's gonna finish doing mulch. So tomorrow is Mother's Day, which is a great day. So we only have today to get stuff done. So pretty much a short weekend, and it's gonna be action-packed, just to try to get as much done as we can and also learn at the same time. So we'll see how it goes. All right, one tree, and she's abandoned the excavator. She's going back to the skid steer. She says it, well, in 14-year-old terms, that sucks. So I think she just wants to get to work and get stuff done and isn't interested in learning a new machine today, which is fair because we only have today. So she's jumping back in the skid steer, and she's gonna head out back and start pulling trees. Okay, I don't really remember where I left off with you guys on this yesterday, but I was able to get this water separator installed, and I'm just having problems getting it primed, but then I found where the other fuel filter was, and that was really nasty. So I took that one off. I had to order it from Napa. There's actually two on there. One of them I can't get off. And so I'm gonna actually take that entire fuel filter housing off of the machine. I think I'm gonna take the fuel pump off as well, and then try to see if once they're off the machine, if I can figure out how to get them working again. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, we're going full pocket knives and porch swings out here. I think that's the name of a Southern magazine. If it's not, it should be. A little redneck engineering. I don't have the right tools or a vise or anything. Could only find one clamp. So I'm using a pipe wrench on the bottom, but I think I'm finally gonna be able to get this filter off of here, which is great. Then it'll just be fine a replacement, and then I can put this back together. I might even try putting that fuel filter back on with new the fuel pump back on with new filters and see if we can get it going. This thing they were chock full, I mean, nasty. I'll show you in a second how nasty these filters were. So that pump probably just didn't have the pressure in order to be able to get through here because it was just so nasty. Okay, I think it's gonna hold this time. Let's see if we can get this filter off. It's turning. It's turning. There we go. Nice. There's just no way I would be able to get this thing off on the machine. It just wasn't going to happen. Let's see if anything comes out. Okay, yeah. That looked like a mud puddle. And that's the fuel system, so that's not what it's supposed to look like. And look, all the passages are, I mean, this is just nasty, 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 nasty. So I know that fuel pump leaks, but with the right fuel filters, maybe it has enough pressure to actually get this thing going. I need to track down this filter now. Napa, of course, is closed. They only open for 4 hours on Saturday. But maybe I can get it at the other parts store. And then I'm gonna try putting it back together and see if we can get it running. If it leaks a little fuel, but we can get that barn down, that's fine. I can order the fuel pump and replace it another day. Right now, we need to get some stuff done around here.
Okay, this is the last row that has mulch that's ready to be tilled. And just like with the first couple of rows, I think it's been successful not having to flatten them out. I see that the dirt is mixed in with the mulch, and it looks really good. One of the challenges, like with everything, along the same lines of keeping everything straight, is, you might be able to see, but we still have some flags out. And so I'll kind of look at the flag and keep going straight. And it doesn't necessarily align with the dirt. The dirt, because some piles were bigger than others, they flatten out and look a little wonky. But I'm still just in general using the flag as a target. But it seems like for the most part they're straight. I'll show you what they look like when I get out of the tractor. But this is the last one I'll till for today, and then I'll switch over to mulching. All right, so I stepped out of the tractor, show you guys what some of the rows look like. All right, so they're all nice and flattened and tilled. I believe it's 13 rows that are kind of complete, ready for compost next. And you can see that it does look like the dirt is mixed in with the mulch, which is what we want, obviously. So the next step will be to add in a layer of compost, and so we'll till that in as well. But this was a really big first step. We're not at all done. It's only 13 rows out of 44, 43, what will be 44, maybe even more. So still ways to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch to bringing out more mulch, because you can see up the hill, you can see where the last row is, and then it's just the dirt that's been tilled. So need to keep picking away at that mulch pile. It is huge. So I'm gonna switch to that. Okay, I'm in the other tractor now, my less favorite tractor. It's actually only like 70 some degrees right now, so it's actually not bad, but in the tractor cab, it is hot. And I have the blower on, but there's no AC. These are all very, first world problems. It's fine. So we're gonna get started with mulching. I think I only have about like an hour before we're probably gonna go get some dinner. So we'll probably get maybe like one row done, if that. So we'll go ahead and get started. Okay. This is just a normal day, but I just happened to look over. I'm not sure if you can see from here, but Joe is in the excavator and it's like tipped. It's just a normal day, driving around, seeing Joe and topsy-turvy equipment. Really does just wonders for my anxiety and stress levels.
Okay, we're getting close to the end of the day. I think we had some winds. So I went to the parts store and they had that filter that I got off, so I was able to get a new one of those, and they were actually able to order me that fuel pump, which is pretty exciting. I thought maybe I'd be able to put this back together and just use the faulty fuel pump for now, but it's very clear it's just not pumping fuel. So it's one of those diaphragm pumps, and I think it's just shot on the inside. So there's no point in me putting it back together until I get that fuel pump, because it's really hard to get to the fuel pump with that filter housing assembly on top. So we're going to leave that off. It's going to be a few days before the pump comes in, and I don't know how that works out for my plans, because I really don't even know if it'll start then, but I'm hoping it will. So we'll see how that goes. But I think that's it on this for today, and I don't really know what else I'm going to move on to, but I'm going to move on to a few other things. I know Liz is going to be switching over to doing the mulch now. She finally finished all the tilling. That's pretty exciting. But there's lots to do around here.
Right, as an update, I finished one row, and I'm actually pretty proud, because generally it takes about an hour, and I believe I did this one in about 50 minutes. I was really trying to book it, because again, it's getting close to dinner time. It's a sacred time. So I'm pretty proud that didn't take as long. So let's go back and park the tractor for the day. And he is, of course, still up to some shenanigans. It looks like he's trying to pull one of the trees down around the barn, because they're beautiful trees, but unfortunately they'll have to come down to make room for the new barn. like it's not funny, but at the same time, when these things happen, I feel like you just have to laugh, because otherwise we just cry. All right, just parked. Let's go see what's going on with Joe. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
How is it going?
Well, it was going really well.
Was.
And so I was clearing out around the barn. You know, I'm freaked out. Not freaked out, that's the wrong word, because I don't really freak out. But
no,
like,
you don't really.
I realize the small amount of time that we have between now and when the baby comes, because we're losing like 1.5 weekends of the 8 weekends. Maybe we have 8 weekends.
We don't even know. They might come tomorrow.
Baby can come whenever it wants.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I gotta wait for that fuel pump. Let me just spend the last of the day taking down a few trees around the old barn, and that'll feel like progress, and we'll be moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
It was going swimmingly, and then I couldn't move. And I said to myself, why aren't we moving? And I looked out the window, and the track had fallen off.
Yeah, it is literally
And this is
completely off.
what happens if you don't keep your track tight. And I've already said in the earlier part of this video that like it seemed like the self-adjuster wasn't staying tight. And clearly it wasn't. And I clearly wasn't paying enough attention to it to try to retighten it every so often.
Could you possibly hold the camera?
I possibly could.
Thank you. You have longer arms.
So it fell off. And I see that the bucket pin is working its way out as well.
Oh,
so
no. That's what they just fixed.
Yes. So before I break it, I need to hammer that bucket pin back in and then figure out how to secure the bucket pin. But first, I need to get the track back on. And I know the day is winding away. But I'm going to put the forks on the skid steer.
That's what I was just thinking.
And try to do it. It's you know, it's not really meant to sit like this.
No.
So it's already leaking down. You can see it's slowly inching back towards.
You can hear it too.
Yeah, it's slowly inching back towards the ground, and I don't want to leave it sitting on the rollers.
No.
So we'll have to fire this back up and put it back up, and then I don't know.
It's okay.
Yep, it's all right. So we're running out of time. I got to get to it. We'll see how this goes, and then we'll wrap up this video with sadness and despair.
Sadness and despair. All right, let's document this. You can see the track has actually inched even further down, even in just the 10 seconds it took for him to go get in the excavator. Oh, this is frightening. He's using the bucket to lift himself off the ground. I know this is very unrealistic, but whenever I have seen the track come off of anything, which this is only the second time, we had the track come off the skid steer once, and it looks like I just want to go over there and, put it back on, It looks like it should be very easy, but of course it's massively heavy, so that will not be happening. All right. Oh goodness. Why is the skid steer not starting? I mean, it's starting, but it's a little shaky. I swear some weekends he's just like Charlie Brown. Like what could go wrong does go wrong. Kind of like the title of one of our other videos. Oh my gosh, what is happening? Can't make this stuff up. What is happening?
This thing is
Yep.
No problem.
Yep. Why? What is happening? It's like our most reliable piece of equipment. Except when we really need it.
Except for when we really need it.
Like really need it.
Really
Then
need it.
then
The
is
2 times it has failed, which would be today,
Yep.
at the moment, and the whole auction saga.
yes, which is when we really needed it. It's working things out.
I'm not going to sit in there while it decides what it wants to do.
At least it's really nice out.
It's beautiful.
It's
Today
beautiful.
was a beautiful day.
It was.
I don't want to listen to that right now.
Okay.
Just move away.
Oh, no. It's just sorting some things out. But yeah, I was saying whenever I look at the track, like it makes me think I just want to like go over there and just like put it back up like by hand.
Go ahead.
Well, I said, I was like, I know it's massively heavy.
Yeah, I don't know. It weighs like 1,000 pounds or something.
Yeah, I'm
So-
not that strong.
And it quit.
Okay. We'll be back.
Okay, well, you can see over our shoulders there that we actually made it worse
Yep.
and knocked it completely off.
Yes.
And we're out of time for today. The skid steer is having a moment and doesn't want to run for some strange reason. It'll
Okay.
start, but it's a fuel issue for some reason. It does this once in a while when we need it.
Yep.
So we won't be fixing this today, and most likely this means we got to push out when we're tearing the barn down, because all of these pieces of machinery are required in order to tear the barn down, and I need them running tip top
Yep.
to get that done. So
Yeah, and the forks would really be what would
yeah,
get that back
if
on.
we could have got that running, and the forks, we could have probably got that back on. And
Yeah.
obviously there's something wrong with the adjuster. It doesn't stay tight. That needs to be solved. But it's not getting solved today, so
No.
this Never Give Up Farm.
That's right.
That's what we're gonna rename it. Never Give Up Farm.
Yes.
So life's an adventure.
Let's keep it that way.